misunderstanding anger so much. Misunderstood anger is as detrimental as misused anger. My name is Victoria Bedford and I'm a spiritual teacher, medium and tarot reader. And I bring these channeled messages or guidance or educational videos because Spirit wants me to share the knowledge that I've acquired on my healing journey. And boy, haven't I had a healing journey. And if you are here too, then you have had a healing journey and you are on a healing journey. I have learned so many lessons on my healing journey. And one of the biggest periods of my lessons was about emotions. Anger was the worst emotion for me. And this led me to explore anger because for me, anger was ripping and bellowing and roaring and destructive. And then anger become imploding. It becomes something I was too scared to express because all I ever knew was raging anger. And I believed holding my anger in was far better than exploding anger. But anger explosive externally is just as detrimental as anger imploding internally. And anger imploding internally is just as destructive as anger exploding. In this video, I'm going to be talking about anger, why people struggle with anger, and why it's a vital emotion to start understanding and navigating. If you grew up in a home where all you see is anger, you are being taught that anger is a dangerous emotion. You are being taught that it's overwhelming, that it's impacting, that it's dangerous, that it's scary, that you just don't want anger. And this will show in two ways. You will be either somebody who holds anger in because you're scared to express anger because of what you've seen, or you'll be somebody that explodes at varying points and don't know why. But equally, somebody who has grown up in a home where anger was nil and void, where passive aggression behaviour was there, where snidey remarks were there, silent treatment was there, where you were made to know you'd done something wrong without knowing you'd done something wrong, you were also taught that anger was an emotion to be scared of. And you was taught that anger was something to avoid. The world is growing up with varying people who do not know how to navigate anger. If this video has come by you, I really want to say to you that this is something vitally you're needing to hear. Because you will not come by videos that you're not meant to hear, especially in 2025. In 2025, the algorithm is responding to you more than ever. And I've seen this. I've seen algorithm changes in my work. I've seen people coming to me more so than ever, wanting to work with me and wanting to hold space with me while I teach them the things that I know, because we are in a healing era. Anger is a vital emotion because anger tells you when you have been violated in some way. So people who struggle with anger will they'll go, I don't feel anger, I'm not an angry person. But this type of person will feel disconnected from people, will feel depressed, will feel like they don't have a purpose. They will be on autopilot in life. And then the other people who say, I just can't stop myself getting angry, I don't know what's going on. They are the people that have been taught to overattach to anger, that actually anger is so big that they don't know how to healthily express it. So when anger is telling you you've been violated, and most people who have anger issues, whether it's imploding, so somebody has anger issues and they don't show anger, they still have anger issues. Because if they can't ever connect to anger, that's an anger issue. So people always believe that anger issues stem from external explosive anger outburst, but it's not. An anger issue is somebody who doesn't understand how to navigate a very natural response of anger. People naturally get angry because anger is a sign of violation of a boundary, a violation of somebody's time and space, a violation of an emotion, of something and a violation perceived or unperceived. Because anger, if I grew up in an environment where my dad ignored me all the time and then I get into a relationship with my partner ignoring me, I'm going to feel angry, but I'm going to feel doubly angry because the explosive trigger there is I've been ignored in childhood, so it triggers that inner child in me. So therefore my anger is going to be even more explosive. If my dad was an angry man and I'm trying not to be angry as an adult, and then my partner's an angry person, every time my partner shows natural anger, I'm going to get defensive or I'm going to cry and shut down because I don't want to see in somebody else what I've seen growing up. The tricks, there's an anger issue going on there. You can't navigate other people being angry because you don't know how to be angry. You can't navigate people expressing different ranges of emotions because you've not been taught to deal with different ranges of emotions. Anger has to be felt. Anger as an emotion is not the problem. Anger as an action is. So an angry action that is destructive is the problem. But telling somebody you're angry because they've done something that's hurt you or crossed a boundary or not okay is not a problem. Now, that person may say your perception is not right, but you're still allowed to feel angry. Because even if you have got a misperception of what they've done, you still feel a certain way and that feeling isn't wrong. Feelings aren't wrong. Perceptions to feelings can heal and change. So you can perceive your friend as rude because they don't text you back the minute you text them and you get angry. But when you realise, or you do some healing work, or you talk to your friend and you realise actually they're quite a busy person, you'll be able to sit with your anger and realise, well, my anger is not as much about the fact my friend isn't getting back to me as quickly as I want them to. It's about the fact I feel rejected. And then you can start exploring where this anger comes from when you realise it's not in the direct moment. But anger as an emotion is not wrong. And I'm here to tell you, if you're watching this, that you're needing to learn to connect to anger healthily. That maybe you're somebody that has outbursts. Maybe you're, and listen, humans normalise outbursts because everyone does it. But it doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because everyone does something, and I'm talking firsthand here, I used to be an extremely highly reactive person. I'd either shut myself down or I would be reacting really, really quickly. And there's two elements to a reaction of anger. The nervous system. When the nervous system is dysregulated, and it's been dysregulated for years, your ability to perceive stressful situations is much smaller. And I'll give you an example. As I started healing and I started taking time out for meditation and for breath work, my ability to get angry lessened because I was giving space between my emotions and external stimuli. Whereas when I'm getting up and I'm rushing around and my nervous system's triggered and I'm anxious and agitated, my ability to get angry was really triggered very, very quickly. So there's two elements to navigating and healing anger. And one of them is calming the nervous system down. Recognizing that your nervous system needs space to rest. It needs an ample amount of oxygen around the body to keep the nervous system feeling like it's in rest and digest. To stop the firing of the cortisol and adrenaline flooding your blood. So learning how to deal with anger in a healthy way will also help you regulate your nervous system. And regulating your nervous system through breath work, through connecting to your body, will also help you heal your anger and deal with it in a healthy way. To heal anger and deal with it in a healthy way is first to give space to it. To understand what anger means. If you don't feel angry much, you've got to start exploring. Why don't you feel anger? I've worked with many clients who have given me scenarios of things that are happening and they don't feel any anger for it. And the reason why they don't feel anger for these scenarios that they really should feel anger for is because they have been taught to disconnect from their needs completely. So anything these people need, well, they're not going to get angry because their needs aren't getting met. But the truth is, they are feeling angry internally because when your needs aren't getting met, but then instead of knowing it's anger, they don't know it's anger, they're imploding. Depression, anxiety, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to be around people. And the reason why is because they don't feel safe around people, safe in environments. Why? Because you have no boundaries. If you have no boundaries around people, you don't want to be around people because everyone's going to take a piss out of you. Everyone's going to take from you everything you're willing to give. And if you're willing to give everything, they're going to take everything. That's what humans do. If I was able to go to an ice cream van and I was told I was only allowed one ice cream and I would only have one ice cream, but if I was told I was allowed more, what's the human thing within us? Most humans are greedy. They want a bit more. So, and then you start normalising, and then when you go and you're only allowed to take one ice cream, you're like, what? I've been allowed to take 3 ice creams this whole time. What do you mean I'm only allowed to take one? And then the ice cream driver will be like, how dare that person get annoyed? I've given them all these extra ice creams and now they're only allowed one, they're annoyed. Well, the ice cream driver has normalised giving as much away as possible. And people are going to feel upset when the boundaries are going to affect them. And by you placing in a boundary, you're teaching that other person that they have to learn to navigate their own emotions, their own anger, their own feelings, that you can't save them. So when people don't understand why they're angry, it's because they've been taught you've been taught your needs aren't important. You've been taught that anger is such an ugly emotion. But the truth is, you won't again label it anger, but you're going to be depressed, because if you're not allowed to feel anger and you've got no boundaries and people are used to taking from you, ultimately you're going to be depressed, because your body and your internal inner child goes, everyone takes everything from me. I can't navigate this. It's starting to ask yourself, what's made me angry in my life? And starting to sit with it and allowing yourself, because when an anger shows that you've been violated, anger is there to help you make an action. That person told me time and time and time again they're going to ring me back and they haven't. Now I'm feeling angry. I could push it to one side and say, stop being so silly, they're busy. Well, yeah, that may be true, but I'm still allowed to feel angry because my time's constantly wasted waiting for this person. So instead of pushing it to one side and say they're busy but still feel frustrated forever, I'm going to connect to the fact I feel angry, and I'm going to go, right, I'm not going to expect this person to ring me anymore, so I'm just going to take a step back from the friendship. If they ring me, they ring me. If they don't, they don't. But I'm no longer expecting that friendship to be at the same level it was. Or I'm going to tell them how I feel. You say to me you're going to ring me. I wait for you and you don't. It's infringing on my time. Either or, those two facings of anger, you're having an outcome. You're either going to change how you deal with it, or you're going to change the external situation by doing something about it. Either or, you don't have to, even if you didn't speak to the person, you're changing it because you're processing it. You're changing it because you're processing, actually, that person doesn't have the same, that's called a boundary. Person doesn't have the same access to me. I'm not going to keep arranging for them to ring me. Or I'm going to, if they tell me they're going to ring, I'm going to step back. Whereas the other aspect is you just push it under the carpet. You push it under the carpet and it sits there. Any emotion unfelt just sits there. Anger is there for you to learn what boundaries you need and with who. And anger is there for you to learn what is healthy for you and what isn't. Anger's there for you to be able to sit with, to understand how you keep evolving. What once worked in a friendship, as you learn about yourself and grow, is not going to work anymore. Once upon a time, being a people pleaser was what got you through friendships, but now you're older and you've got children and a family and a home. You can't people please. So you're going to get angry at things that you never used to get angry about. Again, the act and emotion of anger isn't the problem. It's how you deal with that anger. Everything you feel angry about, you have to sit with. You have to ask yourself why you're feeling angry. And maybe you're feeling angry because you're perceiving something from an old wound in the past. My friend always lets me down. And then you allow yourself to sit with that anger. Well, does she always let me down, or am in this moment, am I just feeling a bit lonely? And then you look back for things like, okay, she doesn't always let me down because there's times when she showed up when it hasn't been easy for her and she's made me feel loved. And actually, so it's not about justifying her behaviour, it's about bringing the truth up. Because there is something called confirmation bias. When you're angry, you'll always find reasons to back up why you feel that way. The same as why you're happy. So you have to bring in a balanced view of looking at the connection as a whole. Actually, as a whole in this friend, it's not about tallying, but it is about looking at the energy you're giving into people. The energy, because most things that make you feel angry are in jobs, they're in connections with people. because anger is there to teach you what violations and where are affecting you, and where you're over and what needs to be healed in the past. First and foremost, anger is there because some of the things that you feel angry about in the present are unhealed wounds from the past. Every time my partner didn't get back to me when he said he would, didn't come home on time, it all made me so angry because it made me feel like I was being disrespected like I was as a child. No one cared about my time. No one cared about me. So part of my healing had to come in with, right, okay, I do need to put in a boundary so he has to learn to respect my time because I work too and my time is important. But also maybe I'm feeling this intense anger because actually I felt violated my whole life. Nobody's appreciated me. So it's healing, and how you heal that old wound is you start to look after yourself in the present. Actually, if people have always walked all over me, I'm not going to become so stern that no one can ever walk over me, but I am going to learn that actually to a certain degree my needs are important. Yeah, you're going to be late at sometimes, but actually where you can, please can you start ringing me, because I need to know for my work what's going on. So anger, the only reason that you're struggling to navigate anger is because somewhere along the line you've been taught it's a bad emotion to have. How many people shame people for having anger? I see it on my TikTok when I do TikTok lives. Look at, like, not that I get angry, but you know, the times previously when I was growing and doing social media and I would be reactive, or somebody had triggered me and they'd be, look at you getting angry. Oh my God, look at you, pathetic. And it's like, and now I'd be like, oh my God, look at you shaming somebody for having a human emotion. Because people who are uncomfortable with something themselves will get uncomfortable with somebody else doing it. So if somebody's uncomfortable with anger, they'll get uncomfortable with other people having anger. And this is why we need to heal anger. If somebody's uncomfortable crying, they'll get the ick when they see somebody else crying. So this is why we need to learn to deal with our emotions and navigate them and feel them, so we can actually learn to hold space for other people. Every time we're getting angry, we're like, oh, why are you angry? You're always angry. You come home work angry. Actually, we need to learn that if our partner comes home angry, maybe he's had a bad day and he's allowed that. That actually I don't need to have him happy all of the time. And maybe if he's angry, I might need to go, is there anything I can do to help you? And if there isn't, I let him be angry. And I'll say, you're allowed to be angry. You're just not allowed to take it out on me. And this teaches our partners and our friends and our children, hey, we're allowed to be angry. And I find when I'm angry, instead of saying, I'm not angry, leave me alone, I'm honest. Yeah, actually, I feel really irritable right now. I don't quite know why. I don't think it's you, but I need some time out. We start articulating to people how we feel. Recognising sometimes when we're snappy with our friends, is there something under that? It's about bringing conscious awareness to our emotions. Anger inherently is not a bad emotion. And actually, we're in a very dangerous place because anger is being played out in really passive-aggressive dynamics that are even more dangerous. I see it everywhere. I see passive-aggressive TikTok videos put up where the person's so nice, they're so scared to act like they really want to say how they feel, so they passively aggressive say how they feel. And that's actually more dangerous because people don't know where they stand. When you're not telling people that you're angry or something's upsetting you and you're just pushing them away, brushing it off, no, I'm not really bothered, don't worry about it, but actually you could have done something different. Like, people struggle in those kind of connections because they're like, I don't know if you're genuine or not. Because one thing that I've found is, at least if you're authentically you get to people get to choose whether they like you or not. And I'd rather people choose that they like me, knowing that I can be all versions of me, the days that I'm angry, because I'm honest with who I am. But the people who aren't honest about who they are and show up in a perfect way, I've always got to try and be perfect. And that is going to create depression and disconnection, because you're always trying to show up as a mask. And you can't wear the same mask all of the time. And you can't be connected to self whilst disconnected to your emotions. Passive-aggressive behaviour is a dangerous behaviour if it's all of the time and somebody doesn't know how to navigate their aggression. Well, not aggression, but anger. You know, we need to start normalising that anger is a normal emotion. We need to start normalising the connection to anger, understanding anger, validating anger, giving space to anger, but not always acting out on anger. Giving space to the anger, feeling the anger, validating the anger, and then creating a response, not a reaction to the anger. If you're watching this, I definitely feel there's something in it that you need to take. Comment below. I just bring these videos, Spirit just put in my head what it is they want me to talk about. I had to learn how to navigate anger, as I say, because I pushed people away with explosive anger, and I pushed myself away with imploding anger. And for me, learning how to navigate anger in a healthy way has helped me bond with people, it's helped people know where they stand with me, it's helped me put boundaries in, and it's led to a really great, healthy life compared to, and I'm somebody that's had a lot of mental health disorder diagnoses from bipolar. So when people say to me, oh, well, you don't understand the extremes, please believe me when I tell you I do. I was diagnosed with bipolar. They were looking at me for BPD, CPTSD I had, OCD, body dysmorphia. There were so many diagnoses that I had. So when people say to me, but you don't understand because you're coming from, no, I'm coming from deep, deep, deep mental health wounding. I'm coming from deep mental health wounding. I'm coming from lots of diagnoses that actually come from trauma and not from what they were saying it was from. And the minute I started healing this and working through this, here I am, medication free. And I'm not here to say that should be your goal, but I'm telling you now, I'm living a life with my traumas integrated and no longer defining me, controlling me and dominating me. I send you all the love. I hope this video has helped in some way. Take care, guys.